are live.
All right, I'm Sam.
I'm Adam.
And this is the, I think, 14th episode of the PMMetalGuide podcast. We're talking about Dungeon Synth. We're talking about the year 2020 and all of its wonderful glory. Sorry for the absence last week, but I don't know, it was Christmas.
It was Christmas. We took a week off. I don't think anyone would have listened anyway on Christmas. So we decided not to do an episode, so that's fine.
Yeah,
but we're back.
Also, it gives us an excuse to talk about both Dungeon Synth December and the year in review.
Bingo. I don't know. We can definitely start with what we've been talking about this year.
What we've been
listening to the last week. Jeez, I'm jumping ahead.
Actually,
yes,
2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks. Oh gosh.
I feel like I listened to virtually no music like the week before this week.
I gotta check now because that could alter everything.
Change everything.
How can I do 2 weeks?
No, you can't. That's the thing. You're just gonna have to remember. Be like, oh man, you heard this album? Two of the Mutilated.
Yeah, all right. I've talked about Blackwing and like the Reticent enough on this freaking podcast. We can move on from those.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to start? I'll start. I don't really care.
You can start because if you have it up, because I need to get it up again.
All right. So, as the collective music world knows, Playboi Carti's third album, the follow-up to Die Lit, Whole Lotta Red, came out on Christmas Day.
Yep.
And opinions on the album are very, very mixed. People either love it or people despise it. And I must say, I think I'm in the former camp. At first, I thought this album was dog shit. Listened to it a few more times. I'm convinced it's genius. It's like the Room of modern trap, in the sense that like every technical aspect of it is so unbelievably shitty, but it comes together to make a thoroughly entertaining whole that's way better than the sum of its parts.
Interesting. I truthfully have not listened to Whole Lotta Red. I really have no interest or intrigue whatsoever, but I will listen to it.
An academic interest.
Personally. I will listen to it at some point. And that is also what I've heard. I've heard a lot of people being like, this is a nuts album. Like, I know one of our favorite Instagram memers, it's already his second most listened to album of the year.
It's so let me break it down for you. All the songs are like 3 minutes. They have probably the worst like beats I've heard in modern trap. Like, literally, it sounds like Carti or like whoever produced them just like whipped out like Ableton and then shit out like an 80s synth trap beat in like 5 minutes, and that's every beat on the album. The lyrics are so dumb, beyond repetitive, and the songs boil down to Carti, who's like pitched up 3 steps and wheezing his way through like the single worst lines I've heard in modern trap, with like even worse ad-libs. But at the same time, it's like, I really can't explain it. It just works. Like, all the songs are absolute bangers. It flows really well. It's really enjoyable. But like, oh my god, it's hard. It's so bad. Like, It's so bad. But at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it pushes modern trap to its absolute breaking point. It's kind of like 100 Gex.
But does it go beyond that breaking point? Or does it just match the breaking point and then just kind of simmer?
I don't know. It doesn't Goku Super Saiyan 3 the breaking point. It just sort of, I mean, I don't know. It just like, it's so unbelievably direct. Like, I feel like if any other artist released this, or I don't know. It's a bold artistic statement, to say the least.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by that. We might need to add it to the list.
I don't know about that, but what we can add to the list is beyond Bean and Lean to songs of the year.
Oh, honestly.
As we talk about Mario Judah's Whole Lotta Red. EP,
which is honestly better than Playboi Carti.
The EP that similarly dropped on Christmas Day. Look, I feel bad because I know it's a joke, but like it's good, and it's it shouldn't be better than the actual product it's trying to mimic. That's like if Weird Al was better than, like, most of the songs. And I mean, he is, I guess. But with this modern rap veneer that is so unbelievably serious, yet so completely stupid and a joke, this album has no right being as good as it is.
Oh my god, yeah, right. Like I remember all the meme videos of Mario Judah like screaming into Instagram like Playboy Cardi, I will drop this, and then like he actually dropped Bia, and it's just it's an amazing tune. Like it works so well, and then you drop Bean and Lean, and it's even better.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't like trap, as I said, but like the combination of memery and well execution that this product puts out, it works.
In conclusion, Mario Judah is the GOAT, and Whole Lotta Red, the EP, has no right being as good as it is.
Yeah, I mean, watch out for Mario Judah. He's gonna burst onto the scene more than he already has, and I mean, he's already.
I'm honestly excited for the.
No, seriously, like
project.
he's already so huge and making such big waves in the music scene. Who the hell knows what he's gonna become?
Yo, dude, where the fuck is Mario?
Where
Judah?
the fuck is he, dude?
Yeah, no. And Die Very Rough's a banger.
Die Very Rough is a banger. But anyway, we have more to talk about than just the traps. Do we want to jump to metal, or do we want to bounce around the topic like we always do?
I don't really care.
Well, I suppose we could talk about everyone's favorite Ugandan group, Duma.
Duma.
Speaking of, so a lot of the stuff that at least I'm going to talk about, I don't know if I can say the same for you, Sam, but a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about today is stuff that has come out on lists of end-of-year lists from this past year that I might not have checked out, or that I've been listening to recently because other people have put them highly on their lists, including a lot of really widespread positive criticism for, or not positive criticism, but positive attention for this power electronics / metal / hardcore / trap 2-piece Duma, who are a Ugandan duo who now live in Kenya, and make a very, very weird, like power electronics. It's so strange. It's like noise, but only half the tracks are noise because the others are like really focused and have some pretty intriguing songwriting and like instrument craft. And this whole
really interesting debut.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I did not expect to hear this year, especially at the end of the year. I would have kind of.
When did it come out? July, right?
I don't remember. I can try and look for it, but I don't exactly remember. It was earlier in the year. I think it might have been May.
Gotcha.
And that was August 7th. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like cyber grind. It's got industrial elements. It's a really gaudy and sort of really in your face release that we don't get too often, I don't think, in the noise scene because, well, I wouldn't say I'm part of the noise scene, but what I can say is that this album really makes a mark and makes a lasting impression and wants you to go back more and more because the stuff is just, it's so wild, it's so unabashedly, it also feels unabashedly amateurish to the point where like you can tell that like this is a fresh sound that we might need to look out for in the future from other groups.
Yep, I agree. It's a really intriguing blend of genre stuff, and like I listen to a fair amount of noise for business purposes, and a lot of noise. I mean, a lot of it, like the music we make, is pretty unfocused, and it's more, I guess, concerned with being noisy than writing good songs. It's good that Duma can do both and do so in such a cool way,
and keep it heavy. It doesn't really throw any of its like center points out the window for accessibility. It's still really, I guess, unappealing. It's very abrasive. The screams are as good as any power electronics vocalist has ever turned out.
I agree. I concur.
And like It sounds like Uboa with like a less focus on sad boy and more a focus on
sad
like,
girl, Adam. Jesus
excuse me,
Christ.
sad girl. I was using sad boy in a more broad term, but sad girl, sad person, vibe,
Sad individual.
sad individual vibe, and more of a I'm angry and I want to experiment with sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the tribal influence also on this record, and I guess that's not a good way to put it, but the inherently African, melodies and like tribal drumming on this, as well as like, I don't know, the way that they use their vocals to like do howls and stuff. It's really cool and really unique. And you don't get to see anything like it.
I agree. And like, I mean, I know personally, like, I haven't listened to too much Ugandan music in my time, so it's nice to hear the different cultural perspective that may or may not influence their sound.
Right. Absolutely.
Let's see.
What else you got?
I've listened to like so little music this week that all
Beautiful.
like the stuff I listen to driving to work in is on this list.
All right.
An album, you love them. Between the Bird and Me, we know them.
Whoa.
Everyone's favorite progressive metal band. They also just finished tracking their, I think, 9th album.
Yeah, they just finished that it was like a few days ago.
So very excited for that. I mean, they generally don't disappoint. Even though Automata isn't their best work, it's still good.
Yeah, it's still definitely very happy to see that we'll probably get a BT Bam release by like mid next year at the latest, which is cool.
And I mean, they deliver, and I want to see them live again, but alas. I've been listening to a Parallax 2 again as like my work album. I just listen to the A-side when I'm driving to work, and it's so good. It's so good.
It is.
And I don't know, my opinion on this album really hasn't changed. Like, I think the A-side's dynamite. I think Telos is a mixed bag. I think Melting City's a bad song. I think Silent Flight Parliament's a mixed bag, but overall good.
Yeah.
And like the A side is so unbelievably strong. I think Astral Body, Layer Goes to Rest, and Stream of Fire Elite are just like the best songs the band's written. Like, they're so good. And then I don't know, Bloom's cool. Telos is like mostly good, but it's a little boring. Melting City just sucks. And like I said, Silent Flight Parliament's mostly good. But it's a mixed album, but it's still pretty good, and I definitely enjoy it. Like, I'm at the point listening to this album where like it just feels cozy.
Sure.
So even listening to like the annoying like Faceless in a Sea of Space, which is like my least favorite one on the album, I still like it. And the songs that bang so damn hard.
Absolutely. I mean, I even agree with that, and I don't even know the album well. Like, I can whip out Extreme Violently and just go nuts, go bananas.
Yeah, no, it's like one of my favorite songs ever. I've listened to that song like 100 times. It's so good. To see oneself is to... Yeah, I don't know. Good stuff. Other than that...
Good stuff.
I'm going to show Adam on camera the CD I just got.
Oh, well, the audience can't see it, so what are you holding up, Sam? Because it is...
I'm holding up Time and Place by Quero Quero Bonito.
Sam's a big Caro guy. I'm not too much of a fan.
I love Caro. I love Sarah, Jamie, Gus, the whole crew. I think they have a great discography. Can't wait to see where they go next.
We've talked about Caro Bonito a little bit on this show. Just a little bit.
I think so. I don't know. Time and Place is like their Pinkerton. It's pretty dark. It's pretty edgy. It sees them turn to more somber aesthetics. Has a lot of guitars, organic drums, really airy synths. It's good. They use the same like sensibility they mastered, some would argue, on Bonito Generation, and then turn it into like sad boy aesthetic. There's a harsh noise track. It's based. It's good.
Harsh noise.
Swimming is my favorite Caro Caro Bonito song.
Good.
So, I like it. I don't know. I love Time and Place. I love Caro Caro Bonito. I want to see him live and go like ape shit in the pit.
There you go. All right. Unlike you, I had actually quite a bit to talk about, which we mentioned before. I have quite a bit to mention. And I want to start with, I guess, what I'm listening to right now, like in my headphones, which is Locust by Atlanta.
You listen to music while you record this stuff?
Very low, just like so I can get a sense of what I want to talk about. So,
Gotcha.
I'm listening to Locust by Satyr, which is a Atlanta-based post-hardcore / gent / math rock / melodic metalcore group that I had no idea about, and I probably still wouldn't, save one list that had this as its number one. I don't remember who.
What list put it up?
I'm pretty sure it was one of the Invisible Oranges links. I could be, or one of the lists, sorry. I could be wrong, but I'm like 99% certain that it was one of them.
I buy it. Yeah, no, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but the Invisible Orange staff lists and like the NCS staff lists are...
they all know what they're talking about, certainly.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, I always feel absolutely filtered when I go on, like, or when I go on, like, a list that I know all the albums, like, similar to ours, and then go on, like, an Invisible Orange list, and there are, like, 9 albums I've never heard of, and then, like, this one random tech death album that I listened to once,
right?
and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I listened to, like, I think the album once with you, and oh my god, it is, like, Sixth / Chaun / like, I don't know, Veil of Maya mid-period. Yeah. It's really weird.
Ivan Belkic of Invisible Orange staff put it as their number one for the year. Backwash was on that list, and Einsof.
Yeah, that was a great list.
Good list.
I honestly feel like we should have Backlash on our list. I love that album.
I don't like that album, but we're not going to talk about that. We talked about that in the Trap Metal episode. So yeah, really cool, really fast, really aggressive, but super melodic at the same time. The band knows how to take every single modern metal sensation of the last 20 years and shove it into a very accessible, youthful, and fun package on this album. And it's just a blast to listen to because it's, I don't know, it fills the technical prog elements that I absolutely adore with stuff like Protest the Hero. This is like if you took Protest the Hero and made it way more metalcore.
Actually, do you know what this reminds me of?
What? And definitely mid-period Veil of Maya.
Is Aliases, which is like the 6th side project that I think Pin and Joe played in. And they released like one album in like 2015 and it's amazing. This reminds me of that.
They actually just released a new single last month.
They'll probably be better in the future in whose eyes.
Oh!
Shots fired, shots fired.
No.
Look, that album's good.
Interesting. I mean, it makes sense, but you know these guys, even though they're wicked young, they grew up in the scene, they know the scene.
Wicked young guy.
And I don't know, I think they're just kind of sick. I mean, like, if you go on, like, the Bandcamp, these guys all look like they're in their mid-20s. And, like, all these songs are really well crafted. They have, super good structure. Super good. Oh my god. They have
super good.
They have great structures, turnarounds, breakdowns, everything in between. It's just a whole lot of fun to listen to. And you get a little bit of everything.
I'm totally saving this right now.
No. It's really good. So definitely take a listen to Locust. And
oh my god, they look like babies.
No, they're literally children. Like, they're, like, makes me depressed that I'm 20x some person with no talent.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, moving on from the better band. That'll probably be huge in a few years.
Ooh, bold prediction. I'll talk about
you can talk about.
I'll talk about So I'm pretty sure I don't know how many listeners know this, but like I feel like a pleb for not knowing about Vedbuen's End until last night.
I didn't either. Until you said it to me, I had no idea.
Oh my god, that album is so good. Upon further inspection, it's like rated absurdly highly on RYM, which made a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but they're a Norwegian group. They released like one album in the mid-90s, like post the second wave explosion, and it is a stunning combination of like avant-garde black metal and like slint type riffs. It is. I listened to the album yesterday and I was floored. Like my jaw was on the ground. It feels so contemporary.
Artificial Brain, Gore Guts, Imperial Triumphant, Piron. I mean, you have to assume that's their thing now. That's what came before. That's the baby version of all that.
Yeah, except what's like even what separates them from a lot of those bands is on first listen there's a lot of like really sticky melodies. Like I know I love all those bands. I love Portal, but like when you listen to that band, it just sounds like I don't know, a little creature walked into a blender and died. And that's what, and you're listening to the oral equivalent of that. But with like this, it feels very composed, very meticulous. The bass is very pronounced, like King Crimson.
Yeah, the prog elements don't detract from the avant-garde black metal, and they fuse really well to make just kind of a really cool. It feels like, I don't know, something about it does feel really like.
It feels really slinty to me.
Personally. The 90s aura that just sort of emanates off of it, be production wise or like on the black metal track, how it just, oh man, that's a Dark Throne song, or like I don't know, it's really intriguing all the way through. They never do the same thing twice. It's always changing pace, shifting from super fast to super slow. It's like a black metal Opeth. It's like a black. I mean, but like,
shut up.
If that ever caught, if the progressive black metal thing ever caught on, this would be album number 1 from that.
Yeah, no, really good, really good. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of this before. I'm just doing research for a black metal show, but like 9
yeah,
to 10
seriously,
out of 10 would highly recommend.
Definitely check it out if you haven't already. We could be the only ones, but we don't think we are.
Honestly, no. This is like one of those like albums where like you'd mention it to like one of the black market dudes, and they'd be like, "Oh my, this is like the all-time classic." Yeah. Like you've never heard.
Oh.
Anywho,
back.
How is I gotta ask. How is mother? Gosh, now I gotta scroll back down. How is Luna's Call? Because I've seen this on like 8 lists.
So you gotta understand the way you're getting into this is modern progressive death metal, a la stuff like Black Crown Initiate and other projects. But it's also half BT Bam. And I mean true BT Bam worship. And not in a bad way.
How hard BT Bam worship?
Like skip to like 6 minutes into the lead single off of this album, Signs. And tell me that you're not listening to a BT Bam song.
All right.
Actually, make it 5 minutes. 5 minutes. 450 if you really want to get into it. It sounds like you're listening to a Parallax 2 song, and I know we just talked about Parallax 2.
Oh my god, this is uncanny.
Right. So you take those 2 bands, Black Crown Initiate and Between the Buried and Me, and you just bounce between them. But the thing that is really cool about this album is that it never gives up on its bearings. So like it doesn't become too tropey. Like that's the only time in the album when you're like, oh my god, this is a BT Bam moment. Like the other times is like, okay, this is like a really intense death metal section, like the first 5 or 6 minutes of Solar Immolation. Or Enceladus and The Life Inside is literally a piano ballad, but like one of the most cinematic and really Haken like not Celestial Elixir, God, Aquarius era like balladry with like all the flourishes, like the the vibraphones and all that fun stuff. This is definitely a prog fan's it's a prog fan's wet dream, basically. Gotcha. If you like prog and you're willing to sit through the 50 minutes, like it's definitely worth your time. I don't know if it's better than the prog albums that we've listed on like our list and otherwise have talked about, but it's definitely one of note for the year that shouldn't go forgotten. And this is also a very young band. So they're going to keep coming up. This is their second album. So they're going to keep coming, and they're probably the people who will take over for BT Bam and Black Crown Initiate when they eventually taper off, and they'll reach that status. That's what I can see for this band, at least.
Coolio. Yeah, I mean, I listen to, like, I just finished the Science, and, like, I'm not proud of it, but I love it.
No, right? Yeah, like, yeah, it's great. It's great. It's great modern prog with enough influences to keep it really fresh and interesting, and not straight Dream Theater or straight BT Bam or any of that. So definitely a cool one to check out, and one that it makes sense why it's on a lot of people's lists. Because when there's no BT Bam album, you might as well have a Luna Skull album.
Lol.
Yeah. Additionally, with more new music, I want to talk about this release by this Portuguese band called Nevoa, who have been around since 2014. The tag on Metalum is atmospheric / avant-garde black metal, and this could not be farther from the truth about what this album is. This album is like taking the cinematic and literal symphonic elements of, like, your Imperial Triumphant, the really jazzy and classical aesthetic, and throwing it onto a post-metal and black metal shell. So, like, it starts with, like, you know, tracks that swell into these really big, like, Cult of Luna-esque climaxes, where you just explode with sound, and you're just sludging and trudging along as the tracks take you. The first track starts with a free jazz section that eventually turns into a, like, smooth jazz section.
So it's a straight up atmospheric black metal, courtesy
involved. Don't take the recommendation on Metalum. This is a progressive post-metal album, as strange as that might sound. Or avant-garde post-metal, I guess, is probably the best way I could...
Post-metal, more like boring metal, am I right?
It's wicked heavy, this record. Like, the production really does a nice job of keeping the jazz sections tight and not boxy, but organic, while the metal sections are really pummeling and nice to hear. So definitely check out Towards Belief by Nevoa. That's their third full-length album that came out this year. Definitely some cool stuff. They're a two-piece.
I feel like more and more bands are just like two dudes doing everything. Okay, I feel really dumb, but I didn't know Summoning was a two-piece until yesterday. I thought they were one dude.
You're a fool. You're a fool. Even I knew that one, dude.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Summoning sounds like quintessential one-man black metal. It really does.
It's close. It's close.
By the way, Summoning, amazing band.
Oh yeah.
Every time I listen to a Summoning album, I shit myself, and I'm like, oh wow, this is just the best.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you have any other albums you want to talk about?
The last album I want to talk about is a very interesting experience that I described to you previously, which is Doom 2 by Witnesses. And now I actually learned a little more about this group. This is an ambient filmmaker's project. So their main series of albums, or his main series of albums, I guess, Greg Schwann, he has 5 full lengths, right? 2 of them are doom metal albums, and the first one of those came out last year. So he has 3 other, like, dedicated, like, ambient film score albums, as well as this record, Doom 2, and To Disappear and Be Nothing, which came out last year. And it's so strange, man. I really can't describe it without playing it, or, like, having someone listen to it, because it is just kind of like mediocre doom metal. but the hooks are really memorable, and I mean, the vocal performance, while cheesy and extremely, like, almost cringeworthy, like, it's really memorable. And, like, the hooks and repetition that they use within the songs is really nice, and the theming comes together to create sort of a very strange epic experiment.
Epic.
it's kind of, I don't want to call it epic doom metal because that's not stuff like Below or like your, King Goat territory, like super over the top. It takes itself too seriously and it comes off as a little cheesy, but like at the base of it, it's some
you told me about this album again.
Yes. It's some really good doom metal that it might not be your favorite, but it's definitely worth checking out because it really does feel like you're like watching a film while listening to it. And while the vocal performance might be cheesy and literally that of a pop vocalist, but
somebody tells me
sounds
I
great.
wouldn't enjoy this album.
No, this is not a Sam Graff album. This is a good get your friend into metal album. There's no harsh vocals. The song lengths are all over 7 minutes. So I mean, you're strapping in for a doom record. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think after I fall off of it, I'll listen to it again. Maybe once or so often, just for like to hear it. Because like I'm listening to the songs now, and like I don't know, they have good hooks, and like it's all really really well performed. So I don't know, it's okay. Check it out. Support the man. Support the man, Greg Schwann. Take a listen.
Yeah,
also, all three of those last albums that I talked about were independent. Luna's Call is independent, Nevoa's independent, and Witnesses is independent. So
I feel like the age of the label is definitely coming to a close.
Yeah, so definitely support those artists, stream them, do everything, buy their records, buy their merch if they have any, and that's all I got to talk about. I re-listened to Ohms and actually was surprisingly impressed.
Yeah, Ohms slap, bro.
Again, and then I re-listened to Around the Fur, and I realized what I wanted in my Ohms, but that's okay.
Adam likes new metal.
No. But yeah. Also, clipping is amazing as always.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's there. I listen.
Visions of God is being burped.
I listened to their Existed an Addiction to Blood yesterday, and I was like,
the hook gun be what it is.
Yeah,
no,
it's
I love
great.
clipping.
But
It's clipping,
anyway,
bitch.
we have a very interesting topic today. Dungeon Synth and others.
It's like Dungeon Synth December / year end wrap up.
Yeah.
Oh man, okay. So for those of you who don't know, on 4chan, on Mew, the music image board, which don't ever go on, every December there comes a time of year where every self-respecting Anon must listen to 31 Dungeon Synth records, one for each day of the month. That sacred time is known as Dungeon Synth December. And there are like literally like 80 different lists for whatever. I just picked one at random, and me and Adam have been going through day by day. And let me just say, I hate Dungeon Synth with a passion. I can respect some of the more modern stuff, but holy shit, does the genre just strike me as entirely pointless.
I can't agree with that. But what I can agree with is I do think that the cringe inhibitors and
you gotta turn off your cringe inhibitors.
Yeah, you gotta turn off your cringe inhibitors for the early stuff, and the newer stuff you just sort of have to appreciate for the atmosphere it's trying to create.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of like the good Dungeon Synth albums from the past few years, they definitely achieved that, and it's a really healthy underground. And I can appreciate it. I just I'd never want to listen to this music unless I was doing something like this.
Right. It's not obviously not active listening music. It's like ambient or dark ambient or film score, blah blah blah, whatever. But a lot of the time they do try to balance, those two things, being both engaging and vibey at the same time. And I think that's where a lot of some of the obviously the big groups, big names like Depressive Silence or Secret Stairways can
two
accomplish
groups that I've
with
never
their
heard
stuff.
of, despite being on the internet for like 30 years and spending an inordinate amount of times in metal forums.
Even like like I think the Burzum stuff comes off a little.
Oh gosh, Thulian Mysteries is you were too easy on that album, Adam. That album is dog shit.
But even some of his like more essential stuff, like I can't think of the name, but one of them from like 1997 is like I'm not that into Norwegian yet. It's I gotta find it, but
I thought it was in German.
It's Hildskov. It came out in 1999. That's what I think is the best Burzum Dungeon Synth album. But
Adam, what even is Dungeon Synth?
Oh, you want to know what Dungeon Synth is?
I don't know if you defined it.
I'd love to tell you. I think we defined it last time a little bit, but I'll read the RYM description. Dungeon Synth is an electronic genre which emerged in the early 1990s, stylistically related to orchestral soundtracks, scores, and ambient music. Where the purpose of a film is set to the mood of accompanying visual scenery, Dungeon Synth can be considered a similar concept using sound only, making it a score without a film. In this sense, the genre is a highly narrative form of music, with scenes that are played out in almost theatrical fashion. Synthesizers and keyboards are the primary instruments of choice, with vocals, samples, acoustic instruments also frequently used. So,
I want to chip in with this other line I found. The genre employs aesthetics and themes typically associated with black metal and applies it to dreamier ambient songs.
Yeah, so the problem with Dungeon Synth as a tag inherently is that it takes from two big sources that are very conflicting, and that's the black metal scene and the role-playing and medieval fantasy aesthetic, okay? Because you can really take it either way. You can make an ambient album and call it Dungeon Synth, or you can make a medieval film score album and call it Dungeon Synth. And they're the same genre. Or you can
make a lo-fi black metal album and call it Dungeon Synth.
Call it Dungeon Synth. So like it's too wide of a field to really warrant, I guess, big attention, because you can't really focus in on one thing without ignoring the other, because it's all there and it's all important to the contribution of it. Because obviously some of those lo-fi black metal albums that were considered Dungeon Synth in the, mid to late 90s, like that's just dark ambient now. Like a lot of it is just dark ambient. And so it's hard to really define a lot of the genres. And that's why I think that the groups that can either particularly use aspects of all the sounds, or those that really hone in onto one side and choose like what they're going for and perfectly nail it, are the best examples of Dungeon Synth. And I am actually a rather avid Dungeon Synth listener, just because I play a lot of role-playing games and I use them. I use them for my D&D games that I have with friends. So I actually have quite a good knowledge of the RYM top Dungeon Synth chart. And I've picked out a few favorites that I think are of note because of what they are able to accomplish with each of their sounds. So
aside from that, I gotta say before we go into that, aside from like the classics, are there any '90s Dungeon Synth albums that are good? Because at least the ones on this Dungeon Synth December are like range from like laughably bad to like some of the worst music I've heard.
Right. So actually, surprisingly, I like a few of the albums on here a lot. Number 31 is by Satyr of crap. I'm bad for knowing this, but not knowing this. It's Satyr of Satyricon. It's his only solo album under the name Wong Raven that came out in 1995 that I really, really like.
Yeah, that album's good, but those are under the classic sections.
Okay, fair enough.
Because of the first,
so I'm looking in
the first 12. The only one I like is Mists of Darkness.
So,
and actually, I like the Arcana Liturgy album too.
The answer is no. To your answer, your question. Pazuzu is widely considered very essential in the scene. And obviously Vindhcalder, as we said last time on the show, is we both very much like. I love most of Vindhcalder's stuff, although I don't think
he
that's
has like
the best
literally
Vindhcalder
50 albums too. So.
But I would agree that most of these old school records are not my favorite. The Casket of Dream, the Casket of Dreams album is okay.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
that's good. I think that album's good. Actually, I also like the Mists of Darkness album, not because it's good, because it does really succeed in getting like, with the film score atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's all that it has to do, really, because like I know a few like good Dungeon Synth albums. Like, for example, one of my favorite Dungeon Synth albums, and obviously I know nothing about this genre. It dives way too deep for even my knowledge.
There's an absurd amount of Dungeon Synth. It's like every member of every black metal band has like 3 Dungeon Synth side projects.
Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but Offermos, who is a very new band, obviously not here, takes Dungeon Synth and like actually makes it music that I like songs that are like 4 minutes long, 6 minutes long. They have kind of like a synthwave beat to them, so like it's not totally Dungeon Synth, but like it really feels like it and it creates that atmosphere.
Synth, if you will.
That one I really, really enjoy as like just music, but overall, I would say, for the most part, you are going to try to listen to these to establish atmosphere and find something to vibe to, or use in your D&D game. So, like, I'm looking at this list, the Dungeon Synth December list that we've been following. I really like Moth Tower, who creates a very nice dungeon atmosphere that's pretty dark and brooding.
Yeah, no, I agree. Moth Tower is solid. Honestly, I feel like I enjoyed basically all the modern albums.
Yes.
And my favorites were Moth Tower, and I loved Darken Wood. I think Darken Wood's really solid.
Yeah, I hadn't actually heard Darken Wood until we touched upon this, but I was surprised. Believe it or not, and this is a hot take amongst the Dungeon Synth community, I'm not really a Mortis guy. I know. I think part of the problem with at least Mortis's early work is really good, but the songs are so long that it makes it difficult to fit into an RPG setting because they change so much, and like the songs are like 26 minutes, and one goes from a really happy section to a really like somber and dark section. So in that very like, I guess nitpicky regard, I'm not the biggest Mortis guy. Plus, I think the stuff's kind of simple.
As is the entire goddamn genre.
As is the whole genre. But on this list, the other ones that are, at least I am a big fan of, are the Eindolmeter record, Lunar Lexicon, the Secret Stairways record, although I don't think that's the best Secret Stairways record, Turning Point, Mightiest and Depressive Silence Split is awesome.
Yeah, I was really impressed by that.
If you want to listen to like actual good dungeon synth, like listen to Depressive Silence. Everything that man, I don't know the aliases.
It's definitely just one dude.
But it is really stellar and is able to pull you out. And that's obviously old. Like that was 90s. That's the 90s dungeon synth group. And the Long Raven. But there's a few more I want to touch on. We talked about Moth Tower, who creates a pretty, brooding and heavy atmosphere. Another group that I'm a big fan of, and I've used a few of their tracks in my settings, are Vindhcalder, who are an Australian group, Australian One Piece. They're obviously very new. They released 5 albums in 2015, 2 of which, Ambient 1 and Enchantments of Old Lore. I really like Ambient 1, really does exactly...
Yet another album named Ambient 1, I see.
Yet another album named Ambient 1. Ambient 1 does a really nice job at creating misty atmospheres, and it's just very ethereal. What you'd kind of want from a spacious, mystical sort of vibe. And Enchantments of Old Lore kind of takes a bit more of an adventuring take with particular stuff like, key flourishes to make like, something magical, or maybe some, bass crescendos into like roots growing. Definitely a group to check out if you're a big fan of the more ambient and large form of the dungeon synth styles. Additionally, one of my absolute favorites, which is sort of a similar vein, and you might actually like this record because it's half a dungeon synth record and half a drone record, is Sorrow by David Terry, which came out in 2018.
I know that album, actually.
Yeah, I love it. It's 3 songs.
The album gets posted on 4chan, actually, quite a bit.
It is. It's indescribable just how this album can take you away and absolutely transport you into something else. The last song is 43 minutes. The first 2 are 18 and 25 respectively. So, this is stuff for the long haul, and I love it because I think the atmosphere it makes perfect for like an uneasy travel of your group that's just like they're walking through these plains and these hills and they're not accomplishing anything, they're just going, and it seems almost unending. And this record is droning in the way that it's just so repetitious and it just goes. It is literally like video game background music, in the way that it creates an atmosphere that feels so natural and really impactful. Even though the instrumentation is so sparse and so simple, it really doesn't fuck around and do any of the stuff that dungeon synth is bad for. Like, the vocals are tasteful, the instrumentation is really ethereal. Definitely another one to check out. And I'm sure that David Terry's other stuff can mimic that.
I think he's pretty prolific.
Yeah.
As are, like, every dungeon synth artist.
And in the actual complete opposite vein, there's another group called Chaucerian Myth that...
Chaucerian Myth, lol.
Yeah. Are extremely prolific. Another One Piece guy. I don't know where from, but North Carolina. Excuse me, found it. But the Canterbury Tales, which is their first effort, came out in 2016. It's almost 4 hours long, and the tracks are all called the Blank's Tale. So the first song is the general prologue, and then the next song is the Knight's Tale. And so basically each one of the tracks fills a certain aesthetic and vibe that your fantasy campaign could want. And I know this is kind of turning into like, use these songs for your fantasy role-playing game. And I understand that not everyone may, be into dungeon synth and all that sort of stuff. But these songs are kind of engaging for the point. It makes you want to pay attention to the music and actually be like, oh, okay, this sounds pretty cool, even though I'm, playing a game and not really focusing onto it. It's still setting the scene and making a very cool atmosphere. And this band really leans into, not the cheese, but very well produced. And, like... How many
ominous Scandinavian vocals are there reading from the Canterbury Tales?
None, because it's all vibe. It's all really well produced woodwinds. The MIDI sounds good on this album, and that's something that I can't say for most of the genre. The MIDI sounds really good and engaging on this record. Obviously, it is almost 4 hours long. I've never listened to it all the way through at once. Because
that seems like a bit much.
It is used, it is used for what it's used, and I think that's what's kind of important when you're going into all these records is they have a purpose and a vibe that they're trying to create, and in that way, I guess you can't really fault any dungeon synth, but you can also fault all dungeon synth for not having somewhat of a more massive appeal to it.
I mean, I'm gonna fault 2 records and. Actually, 3 records in particular that I just found atrocious.
Sure, go for it. Now that we've talked about some good stuff, please tell me about some stuff that you did not like.
Mantar's not that Mantar's The Wrath of Hornuk the Great, which is like a 25-minute slice of tribalistic dungeon synth, complete with like the really spacious like tom drums and the unbelievable cheese.
No, I
something about like Scandinavian vocals reading scripture just takes me out of it. Like, not my thing. And Mantar is just not. It's not, like, don't get me wrong. I like lo-fi aesthetics. I love black metal, but like, there's a point where it goes a little too far.
Hey, at least it's the only Mantar effort out there. So.
Yeah, little do we know, this guy's like actually been in every black metal band, and this is like his one dungeon synth album.
It's actually Ishan from hit band Emperor.
Literally. Up next, definitely my least favorite record on this list, and also a Nazi record, is Svantvíð with The Return of the Ancient Slav.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why this was on Dungeon Synth December, to be completely honest.
Because it's 4chan.
I mean, I guess so.
Yeah, this album is like 30 minutes of, once again, like tribalistic dungeon synth, except the vocals here are explicit. I don't know what language they're in. I don't want to listen to it again. They're explicitly like,
yeah,
very, very Nazi heavy. And you guys know our feeling towards that stuff. Like, it sucks. It shouldn't exist at all. And the fact that there's literally an entire album dedicated to like Durin Grey by Tool, except making it serious in a dungeon synth context. I hate it. I couldn't even finish this one. It just disgusts me.
Yeah. I guess our sentiments and sort of, I guess, reasonings and, I guess, ponderings behind why this exists is present in our episode about Nazism and black metal, because they're the same thing. It's the same reasoning. They're just Scandinavia's a very interesting place, and Nazism and weird. It's strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Any ideology, pardon me, that's based entirely on discrimination of another, I'm not a fan of.
Right. Yeah.
And anywho, but certainly, speaking of Nazi bands, last but not least, this Burzum album's so ass, dude.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
It's just
like some in between like the 8 Varg spoken word tracks, I lost it.
Yeah, no, it's really not at all good.
What if you listen to it while playing what's it called, Mythagore?
Well, it is intended for the Mythorog D&D system or role playing system. So if you know what, I will say, if you're playing, I said this at the end of my review for that record too. If you're playing Mythorog or are a white supremacist and want to get into Dungeon Synth, this is the perfect record for you. Because it hits both those boxes.
It's like 3 hours. It feels like 3 hours long. It's so long. It's so bad. And like the better dungeon synth on this list just like flies by and you just kind of vibe out.
No, seriously.
And with Thulean Mysteries, like I find myself counting all the beats because like
Thulean Mysteries. No, it's
sorry.
It would be it's because it's the land of Thule, because you hear Varg say Thule about 100 times on this record. So
Thulean Mysteries.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate fuck Varg. Fuck this album.
Yeah, no.
Let Burzum die.
Mm-hmm. Let Burzum die. This was not supposed to exist.
Yeah, didn't Burzum like end 2 years ago? He
yes.
was like, "Hello, I am ending the name Burzum."
And now we're back. Burzum is not dead yet. So we'll see what's happening with that. Oh well, it says that. Hey, Metalum says they're split up. He's split up. Burzum is split up.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess like my final thoughts is like dungeon synth is not a genre for me. It can be done well though, like anything, and it's just like I really find it hard to enjoy the 90s like brand of dungeon synth.
The older aesthetic is hard to get into, but the stuff that the new music is mirrored around, like Secret Stairways and Depressive Silence, is. It can be breathtaking if you really sit down and listen to it.
It's really good when you like it. It gives you the feeling of like the perfect like ambient album. Like I remember the first time I listened to like music for airports, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is music,
bro!"
Like it gives you that feeling. It's good. It's definitely good.
Dungeon
Dungeon Synth specialty show win.
Dungeon Synth specialty show win. Where's our best dungeon synth albums of the year, Sam? What the frick?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you a single record that came out this year.
Dude, Offermost came out this year. And you know what else came out? Mortis had an album that came out this year. The one on this list actually came out this year. And, or it might have been last year. I can't remember. Actually, it definitely was last year. But, crap, is there another one on this list? There's another one that came out this year that, is pretty good. But, there is a really good YouTube channel, actually, that I want to, just really quickly sort of shout out. Called the Dungeon
dedicated
No, it is called the Dungeon Synth Archives. And they have 795 videos on this channel. And they just post Dungeon Synth. And you can find some stuff that you should not find. Like, I have found some really old demos from, like, stuff like that we've talked about, like, I can't pronounce the Nazi record name. Svantvith? Like, stuff like that, like, with the one, you have one release, nothing else, no other info, but it also has, the really big releases, that are coming out nowadays that, definitely should get some attention. Yeah, you got, like, Zuzu here. You've got 1984. You've got a bunch of stuff that came out last year and this year, the years before. Definitely a good channel with a lot of resources. There's a ton of stuff there. I'm sure you'd like something. Like, there's got to be something in this genre for everyone because, I mean,
it's really vast.
It's
like,
so vast.
When it succeeds, it definitely does feel
Yeah.
good, but I don't know. As a whole, I'm not the biggest Dungeon Synth guy.
Yeah. All the Depressive Silence projects are on that website, if they're not on Bandcamp, or on that YouTube channel. So check out the Dungeon Synth Archives. They're really cool. But with that,
so want to take down some lists before we do any broader conclusions? Or...
Absolutely. Let's take down some lists. Let's see.
All right, Angry Metal Guy or Invisible Oranges first?
Let's start with Invisible Orange because they have more out, and I think they're getting close to done.
Yeah, all these lists are great.
They are really great. And
all right,
most of these albums,
literally...
most of them we're going to talk about are top 10s in particular, so there will not be, as...
All right, which one do you want to start with? Because we have, literally, 10.
Up to you, man. I don't really care. Choose one and
Let's just go with
pop it
Reese
open.
Williams.
Okay. It's one of them I don't actually have.
All right,
open.
so Reese Williams seems to be a fan of technical death metal, because literally all these records are some form of brutal death metal or tech death or OSDM.
I mean, that's usually what you find with these lists.
Let's see, Ripped to Shreds,
Good
Undeath,
record,
Disembowel.
good record.
Is the Xibalba record really that good?
No. It's fine, but I wouldn't I wouldn't have put it so high. I think it's a good album, but it's not great. I've never heard of this Money Hammer.
Is all just... Me either. Thetis, I've heard of Afterbirth, Bayou, Black
I've heard of Thetis.
Fluids.
That Thetis album is really good.
Is the Fluids record really this good?
No. Actually, I tried listening to I couldn't get through it. It's synth and it's lo-fi synth brutal death. There's no drums.
Now you sold me on it, all right?
No drums, synth only, and it's lo-fi. And dude, I can't get into it. I think it's so boring. I got through two tracks, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I've heard all this has to offer.
Oof.
And I know that's harsh, but it just did not stick out to me. We're talking about their new album, Ignorance Exalted, that came out this year.
This sounds like one of my... So, from me and Adam's high school, there were 3 metalheads in all 15 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Of students. And the one guy I know that's pretty involved in the local scene, this is actually similar to what he makes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he makes I guess OSDM influenced synth music.
Really? It's weird because this album and Fluids, they're on Metalum. And that's really surprising to me because like this has obviously clear metal intentions, but it just feels so I don't know, it feels really off to me. I just don't I don't like it. I just don't think it does enough. It's also an EP.
Tracks and this definitely is not something I'd listen to.
Yeah, no, it's brutal death metal with synth instead of drums.
If Invisible Orange is putting it on their top 10 lists, it must be good, right?
That's true. We're not saying this album's bad, but it, not exactly for us. But that's, one to check for sure. One to check out.
All right, let's check out Chris Willella's. Just looking at the list, we got Armored Saint. I know, I hate that album.
Yeah.
16.
16.
Never heard of them.
That's a good record. Dream Squasher's a pretty good Sledge record. Necrot is obviously Necrot.
Ilsa.
Mm-hmm. Napalm Death.
I feel like I have to listen to this Napalm Death album because everyone likes it.
It's a good album. Number 5, we got Today is the Day. No Good to Anyone. A record that I actually have not listened to. You got
Primitive Man at number 4, of course.
Beggar, Compelled to Repeat. I've
never heard of that.
I've heard of this album, but I have not listened to it.
And then Svevin, To Be Expected. Hum at number 1's an interesting choice.
It is an interesting choice, especially when you have Swevin right there. It could so easily just bump the spot.
The more I listen to Hum, the more I like it. That album's really good. It's a wonderful comeback.
Yeah, it's a really nice comeback and a reintroduction of shoegaze into the rock scene nowadays.
All right, let's move on. Even Velchik.
Yeah, this is the record that we were talking about earlier, or the list that we were talking about earlier with Satyr at their number 1.
Satyr at number 1.
So
Barons, never heard of them. They're on Pelagic though. Biazy, never
I don't
heard
have
of them.
that either.
New Violet
That
Cold.
Violet Cold album's good.
I've heard it's quite good. Iron Soft, Utterly Based. Fliege, never heard
very
of them.
interesting heavy metal and black metal mix together. It's like
Aura,
metal but not.
Never heard of Aura.
Nope, you neither.
Wait, they're a chamber quartet? What? Oh no, they feel like a chamber quartet. It's symphonic black metal. I don't know. Wake. I'm kind of surprised we don't have Wake on our list.
Devouring Ruin was good. I was not jumped at it though. Good album though.
Good album.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Backwash album, and I've never heard of Onst either.
Blackened hardcore and metalcore. I actually like it, but it's not something we should like. It has too much metalcore influence, in my opinion. Like it's not even metal. It's metalcore. With black metal.
Hey, it has a song called "Kill Your Inner Cop" and "Denazification."
No, look, it's got great messaging and pretty good lyrics, but yeah. And then Satyr at number 1.
All right. See, it's always great looking at these lists and like I see like 5 albums per list that I've just never heard of.
All right, number 10, Have a Crew New on Brandon Course.
On Brandon Course.
Brandon Course's list.
Seems like everyone just like went bananas for the Have a Crew New album because it's great. We went bananas for it. Road Warrior.
That's an interesting pick. That
I hate Jag Panzer is probably one of my least favorite bands. Not because they make bad music, just they exemplify the exact style of metal I can never listen to. Jag Panzer. Jag Panzer.
Jag Panzer? What are you talking about?
You've never heard of it?
No.
Bruh. It's classic EUPM, bro.
I don't listen to that genre.
Throw on a random Jag Panzer or Jag Panzer song right now.
This band.
It's literally JAG and then Panzer.
I've literally never heard of this band ever.
You've never, dude? What do you mean? How have you never heard of them? They're like one of the all-time greats.
Their top song has 300,000 listens on Spotify.
Yeah, it's fucking old school EUPM.
All right, I'm listening to it now, but I've never heard of it before. Anyway, Road Warrior number 9, Soul Skinner, 7 Bowels of Wrath. I've never heard of that record.
Nope. Apparently, it's old school death metal.
All right, I can't listen to this. I'm already out.
Yep, right? Yep. I told you. We got Malacarpaton. Yep.
Blaine Smith of Banger TV's pick of the year. Yep.
Oh, really? Sirath Ungol.
Classic group, not for us, but for someone.
Not for us. For a lot of people. This album's pretty beloved.
And then
Caravasia. Ooh, Hellenic black metal.
You know, I have some sauce with this album. This album came out in like November, and like I don't want to call them for their copyright infringement. But our good old friend Maurice De Jong had a project that in the 90s that was basically war metal called crap, I can't remember. Now I gotta stall for time. It was called Black Mouth of Spite. Now I don't know what the image on this cover of this Catavasia album is. I really don't know what it is like. I don't know what it's representative of. I don't know who it is.
It looks like a demon.
I will say that there is a group called Black Mouth of Spite that is just Maurice De Jong of obviously Golden Ashes, Gnaw Their Tongues, the Somber, blah blah blah, all this big stuff fame. And he put out an album with the exact same album cover minus the inscriptions on the side, with a slightly brighter hue to it. So look, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I haven't listened to this record purely off of the notation that it may have a stolen album cover. I'm not sure. I'm not making any claims, but just saying. Also, listen to Maurice De Jong's music. It's all great. But anyway.
Siege Column, literally never heard of him. The Wizard.
No.
I listened to this album once.
Me too.
It is not
as is the White Magician album. As is the Eternal Champion album.
Eternal Champion. Well, if we found anyone's taste that just don't align with ours, it's probably Brandon Corsair. No offense, Brandon.
Look, heavy metal's for certain people.
Let's skip ahead to Langdon Hickman, because I love Langdon Hickman. I think
and he's got a class act having Ulcerate as his cover photo on the banner.
Yeah, all right. Top 10. So this is the reason I love, like, this is so goddamn agreeable. 10, Unleash the Archers on our list. 9, Maricognum on our list. 8, Krallis, close to being on our list. 7, Bedsore, ew. I'm not a huge fan of this album. It's fine. Yeah. It's okay. It kind of reminds me of Dysrhythmia, but I enjoyed Dysrhythmia a little more. Then Enslaved. We know how we feel about Enslaved.
Napalm.
Napalm Death. I guess this album's good. I don't know.
Hey, I think it's good.
I guess we have a strictly no boomer bands policy. Here. Follow that up with Oranzi Pazuzu, surprise, surprise. Ulcerate, surprise, surprise. Emerith Rundle, the absolute based.
And they used the alternate album cover. They used the Thou album cover.
I know.
And
Swevenat.
Oh, I was gonna say, and this can obviously be on the podcast as well. We need to add the cover of Territorial Pissings that Thou did to the best song.
Oh my god, yeah. Or like Something in the Way. Honestly, that whole album is just amazing. I think it should be in my honorable mentions, but it's a covers album.
Right. So we're talking about the Thou one of the 2 Thou cover albums that came out this year, in addition to their full length with
They Never Stop.
They never stop. The goats never stop. And they did a Nirvana covers album called Blessings of the Highest Order, and a Black Sabbath cover album called A Primer of Holy Words.
Wait, they did a Black Sabbath cover album? It's probably great.
I mean, I think it's a Black Sabbath cover. Yeah, it is a Black Sabbath cover album. Yes. Territorial Pissings off of this Thou album is just absolutely stunning. It's so aggressive. Keeps the punk energy that original track gave off, but makes it really heavy and really cool. But anyway, number 1 on that list.
Honestly, anyway, a story for another day.
Number 1 on that list.
Yeah, it's Sweven. As everyone should have.
All right.
All right, and we can end off our Invisible Orange segment with John Rosenthal because he has a pretty good list.
He does have a good list.
Honorable mentions. I gotta give it to the Microphones. Microphones of 2020.
Based pick.
Based. Let's see. Starts at number 10. Stormkeep. Isn't this like old school black metal?
I haven't heard of this. Truly, I haven't.
I've seen this image in doing research for black metal show.
Gotcha.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard it.
I'm sure it's good. Flui Serars, Bloom. Yep.
Based.
Black Curse, Endless Wound. Based.
Should have probably been. Well, I don't know. I like this album a lot, but I don't think it's amazing.
Well, we just don't like death metal.
Yeah,
like Alfar should be on our list, but we just don't like death metal.
Yeah.
We got Atrumento Stygian. Yep.
So the severe lack of Doom this year.
There are like 3 great Funeral Doom albums.
All right, but like none of them stick out as like the amazing relic of something like the Incubus of Karma or Mirror Reaper.
Well, I mean, we just don't have patience.
Shit, Esoteric last year.
Dude, I mean, I don't know. I think Drown is pretty damn good.
That Drown album's wicked good, I will admit.
And so is this album. So is Atramentus.
Fine, fair.
Fuck you.
Remember Old Nick? Remember we talked about Old Nick? Yes. I'm so glad this record is here and getting some love.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
We talked, I don't remember what episode we talked about this on the podcast with, but it was here, and I'm glad that that Dungeon Synth is being represented in 2020.
I'm gonna cringe. Alright, Oliver, this should not be here.
It's really strange. I gotta listen to this Oliver album again, because after reading this, very little, like, bio, and, like, saying that it's just a subtle version of the assassination of Julius Caesar, kind of put a think in my head, and I was like, well, maybe I should give this album another try, but I haven't yet.
Have you ever heard of Lamp of Murmur?
Yes, they're huge. So, I have heard of Lamp of Murmur. They used to make Dungeon Synth.
Oh no.
But apparently, and I actually played one of their tracks on, they were part of that compilation that
the awesome protest.
The Markov the Markov Soroka
the Markov Soroka
compilation earlier this year, and
gosh, that's an amazing comp.
Yes, it has so much good black metal on it. But this is their first full length Era of Ecliptical Romanticism. It came out in October independently, and everyone's going BANANAS for it. But yeah, they're early. I'd love saying BANANAS. But yeah, no, they do a lot of early stuff is Dungeon Synth with some lo-fi black metal, and this is their first album, which I believe is strictly black metal.
I'm sure it's good. I mean, I love the cover.
Yeah, it's very old school. Yeah. Yes, the Hot Blood album.
The Hot Blood album's so good. I've only listened to it a few times, but it's amazing.
Yes, it is awesome. I remember listening to this back way when it came out, and I played it on my radio show a few times, and every time I was like, oh, heartstrings pulled.
Dude, they're not on Metalum. Why?
Because it's black gaze, quote unquote.
Oh my god, Metalum sucks. Swevin at number 2, of course. Because why not? It's Swevin. Yeah. And then number 1, you know it, you love it, Paysage d'Hiver with Imwald.
Crazy. What's that album? I've never heard of it.
Dude, Imwald should be higher than Merconium, I'm sorry.
I don't know about that.
Winter.
But where are we jumping to now?
Oh, let's go AMG.
AMG, all right.
Let's just start from the bottom with Doom et al.'s and Dear Hollows list.
All right. I think there are more before that though. I could be I'm crazy. Never mind.
And I feel like with the AMG list, I just know a lot of these albums because I browse a lot of AMG.
Oh yeah, no, you're gonna know all of them probably.
But I just like I think we talk about this all the time, but like me and Adam have such opposed taste when it comes to AMG. Like I think every single album, like there's so many albums that we love historically that AMG's given like 2s.
And
like,
vice versa.
Seriously, like Cobalt Slow Forever, they gave it 2.5. I will never forgive them. I will never forgive them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just have a lot of writers, and all the writers like different things. So I don't know. And AMG himself has like the derpiest like metal chud taste ever. So.
Yeah, kinda.
Not, which isn't bad. I mean, he's done great work, but nonetheless. All right, onto the list.
Onto the list.
Doom 8 All's list with Gaira as an honorable mention. Yeah, it's great.
It's a pretty good record.
We got Dark Forest. Ooh.
I've heard about it. I haven't listened to it.
Me either. Wayfarer. Amazing album. We should probably be on our list.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was
gotta
okay.
give more time, bro.
Yeah, alright, fair.
Afterbirth again.
Great. The Velnius record is pretty good. I've heard it. I heard it when it came out. And was
ever heard of Panzerfaust?
No, I've never heard of Panzerfaust, the Sons of Perdition 2, Render Unto Eden. I've never talked about that song or that record on this podcast. Not once. Never.
Check it out.
Number 5.
Cytotoxin. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's in my honorable mention. It should probably be on our list. The album's amazing.
Yeah.
Spectral Lord. No, wow. Havakruno, surprise. Afsky? What the fuck is Afsky?
Not screeching, vicious black metal sound, raw and vulnerable. I actually don't know. You gotta put it on the list to listen to. And number 1, the based of all takes, the Ulcerate. The Ulcerate pick. The Ulcerate pick. If you're not picking Ulcerate, you're not real. You don't exist.
You aren't real.
Down to Deer Hollow's list. You got number 10, Neck of the Woods, which is a really cool progressive metalcore record. It's like Protest Hero Light. It goes a little harder.
Death, Void, Terror.
This is actually another Funeral Doom record that came out way earlier in the year that I forgot about.
Yeah, did this come in like February?
Yeah, it came out
Dude,
way
I'm sorry, that
back.
was a different decade.
Oh, certainly.
I remember like the music that came out in February because I was writing about Insect Arc for the article, and I was like, was this the same year? like seriously.
Yeah.
We got Wayfarer again. Igor, I'm sure you know our opinions on that.
Yeah. Calligram is also cool, which is our number 6. The Eye is the First Circle.
Oh yeah, no, this I've actually listened to the single from this one quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a pretty good record. I talked about it very briefly on one of the earlier podcasts, but definitely check it out if you like black metal and hardcore, and when you throw those two together.
Gaira yet again. Gaira don't disappoint. Ulcerate. Yeah. Involved. Yeah. Neptunian Maximalism. I mean, yeah. And then number 1, Alphaville. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for one of my term papers this semester, I read extensively about Alphaville and Abscess Time, and I definitely have a much deeper appreciation for the record now. It's really, really good. And the thing that put it over the top for me as being like just truly amazing is every single song has so many memorable moments. And for a dissonant tech death metal album, that's really good.
Yes. It's hard to come by, for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know. Imperial Triumphant, amazing band. Amazing, amazing, amazing band.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to jump to Sentinel and 12 because this is an example of a list where I don't think we match up on a lot of situations.
Oh my god, yeah, this list, I hate it. I hate it.
It's not all bad. There is some good stuff.
Like, props to Sentinel, but like...
All right. So, we got number 10, Night Flight Orchestra.
No. We gotta mention the honorable mention, which is fucking Nightwish.
Right, we don't need to talk about that. You said it. We can move on. Number 10, Night Flight Orchestra, Aromantic. I don't like Night Flight Orchestra. If you like Thin Lizzy, you'll love Night Flight Orchestra. Moving on.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Lord Buffalo. Also, don't like Lord Buffalo. I'm not a fan. I don't know if you've heard any Lord Buffalo.
No, actually, I listened to this album when it came out.
Not for me.
It's like Sad Boy Folk.
Not for me. Sad Boy Folk, not for me. I don't know what actually the Scaphoid record is. But it looks like a post-metal record.
But yeah, it looks like a post-rock, actually. Actually, I'm no joke. I'm pretty sure I added this album.
Yeah.
To my radio's ads.
Gotcha.
Because it's on Bandcamp.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Moving on, Forendom, another Sad Boy Folk album. Number 6, we got our first instance of Raphael Weinroth Brown. Who is, of course, the
cellist for
Leprous, who is... This album's actually really good. We could have probably mentioned it more throughout the year. But
Well, it came out in like the first week of January. So.
Yeah, it came out way early in the year. Definitely one to check out.
No, it's super astounding.
World Within.
Svalbard.
Svalbard.
Yeah. What the fuck is Stardust?
It's all right. Hold on. It's like progressive symphonic Nightwish worship.
Okay. Next, moving onward. Yeah. Mitochondrial Sun.
Not heard it. I remember it being mentioned somewhere, but I never listened to it. But apparently it's good according to Sentinel.
I'm sure it's
number.
And then Ocean.
Ocean.
Sharp inhale. What do you want? One of these days we're gonna like.
The ocean will click.
Yeah, one of these days I'll be listening to a Pelagic and be like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my god. And number one,
and
for less now.
What the fuck?
Okay, so
I've never.
I have actually heard of this album, and I listened to it kind of religiously when it came out. I wasn't too crazy about it. I was like, you know what, this is good. It's got a lot of talent behind it. It has people from Lotus Thief. I'm pretty sure the botanist guy is in this group. And it's just the tags on RYM are doom metal and dark ambient. There's 2 songs, each of which is about 18 minutes long, and it's a really pretty, like almost drone-esque quality doom metal album that I've actually, upon reflection, really started to come into and really enjoy. It also has one of the members of KO Dot, but they're all under an alias. It's an alias, so you don't know who's who. I can tell you that the vocalist for Lotus Thief, who also put out a record earlier this year, Orestia, which is post metal. The vocalist on this record is the woman.
Gotcha.
So,
well,
oh no, wait. I'm looking at it now, and I think, if I'm not wrong, that the Lotus Thief drummer is. Wait, no.
All right, let's just move on.
All right, we're out of here. We're out of here. It's fine.
On to 12's list. We got Shores of Null at number 10. Never heard of it.
It was on AMG4.
Maras Miali. Once again, never heard of it.
Good album. This one also came out really earlier in the year. Didn't get enough shine. It's really, I would say it's better than the Panopticon splits that came out this year. For sure.
Shots absolutely fired.
For sure.
Absolutely fired.
I like Panopticon, though. There's Raphael Weinroth Brown again. You got the Ocean again. Atstider Ivsen. I'm not going to try and say that, but Icelandic black metal. With some
I'm sure it sounds like Icelandic black metal.
Yeah, it's folky. It's got a very Scandinavian and I guess pagan vibe to it. October Falls I've never actually heard, but it is an acoustic album.
Gotcha. Voller.
Another big avant-garde doom metal album with a very wonderful use of violin. This album came out a few months ago, but didn't really stick with me all that much. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Big atmospheres, long songs. Same thing with Sunken's Leaf Sled, except this one is basically a black metal and a doom metal record, having a really nice love child.
It's classified here as DSBM.
No, I don't think that's true. It is depressive, but I wouldn't call it DSBM. But then here's where stuff really goes awry. Here's where this list really takes off. At number 2, with Ailstorm's Curse of the Crystal Coconut. Now,
all right.
Like, we don't need to talk about Ailstorm any more than we have on this podcast. But
I don't know. Look, man, there are 2 types of people in this world: those that like Ailstorm and normal people.
Right.
So.
And there's again the Formdom album at number 1 on this list. Very surprising. So. That's one that I'm not too, crazy on. I don't want to spend too much more time on this because these lists are kind of similar, most of them, but there are a few that we should talk about.
Let's do two more. Holden Eyes and Church of Doom, and like Garden's Tales.
That works for me.
All right, Holden Eye. All right.
All right. No,
Brothers of Metal and the honorable.
The Brothers of Metal pick is base, dude. That album is good.
This album sucks.
No. Emblast Saga is the third best power metal album to come out this year, only behind Judicator and Unleash the Archers.
Adam, how many
There's
power
no
metal
other
albums
way
have you listened to
around
this
it.
year?
There's no way around it.
How many power metal albums have you listened to this year? 3?
Yes, and it's the third best one.
All right. I've never heard of Hell On.
I heard about this coming out, but I didn't listen to it. There's Eternal Champion,
which should be number 1 on all these
probably.
lists.
Okay.
Also, I love this edit they have.
Which one? What?
Of the album. With Rudy Giuliani covering the boobs.
Yeah, that's funny.
Necrophobic. I feel like I should listen to this album more.
Yeah, I heard it like once or twice when it came out.
Never heard it. Solicitor.
Heavy Metal. Haven't listened, but
all right, never mind.
It was, but it actually that one hovered on the RYM list for a while.
Oh, really?
Around the 30 and 40 slot, so it might actually have some substance to it. Valdrin is a pretty cool black and death metal record, but not one that caught my eye. Same with Black Evil, and I don't like the And Oceans record.
I can't say list. Oh gosh, it has a Fintroll member on it.
Yeah, I just
Stardust again. Why do people like this? I'm sorry, guys. You're entitled to your opinion.
And now on the Thrak at number 2. And number 1 Earthrot pick, kind of base, but there's better death metal that came out this year. Salomoth, Black Curse, Snorlax, all better than this Earthrot album. Not said the Earthrot album's bad, but it actually got some pretty awesome tracks on it. But there's definitely better black metal out there, I think.
I feel you.
Moving on to Chart of Doom.
Let's see. So this is a pretty predictable list.
Yeah.
Spectral Lore, Metcognium, Wake, Hephakrunu, 7 Korganthris. Never heard of that.
This is called No Prefix Black Metal. It's not Atmo or Disso or Mellow, but has lots of atmosphere and melody and still manages to be stark and challenging. This was also hovering at the end of the RYM list, but I never actually got the chance to listen to it.
Gotcha. And all Northcrath again.
Thrak.
Ew.
You got
Mayor Chambliss beat Emma Ruth Rundle at 5. Great. Sightless Pit with the early placement.
That's a really interesting pick. Sightless Pit's Grave of a Dog was reviewed by PMMetalGuide way earlier when it came out in the year. Obviously, that has members of Full of Hell, The Body, and Lingua Ignota. Some pretty cool dark wave and power electronic-y and sludgy and...
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I didn't find it super engaging. I've listened to some a bunch.
Yeah, I've listened to it a ton. It's very interesting. I'm excited to see what they do from now on. I would have liked a little bit more noise.
We got Evon. I've listened to this album twice, and both times I was floored. I gotta listen to it more.
I don't even know what this is. Could you enlighten me on what this Evon record is?
It's a funeral doom record with like avant-garde flourishes, and like in the sense that like it has like straight up progressive jazz moments. Like it's like 2 songs, and like one of the songs, like half of it is just funeral doom, and the other half is like jazz freak out. It's great.
Where is it? What is it on? Is it on anything?
It's on Bandcamp.
It's on Bandcamp. Yeah, because I've never heard this record.
No, because Heavy Blog turned me onto this, and it was like, yeah, honestly, the cover art's great.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me check it out, and it came out a while ago, I want to say.
It came out in June, so yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, no, this album's solid.
All right, I'll definitely check it out. I'll keep it on my ads, as they say.
And let's end number 2, All Straight, yup, and number 1, Imperial Triumphant. Can't argue with those picks.
Alphaville.
All
right, and last up, we're going to talk about Kenward, and Chaucerian in their top lists. Where's Master of Muppets? I miss him. Where is he? Where's his list? Where's his list?
Where is his list? Master of Muppets has he's turned us on to all the best bands.
Mm-hmm. He turned me on to Firelink. He turned me on to
he turned me on to what's it called? Gosh. Why can't I think of the band's name? Black Gaze Swedish 2-man
Together
project,
to the Stars.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that.
It's late. All right, so on the Kenward's list, I gotta give props to his avatar, which is SpongeBob from the SpongeBob movie.
Yep. You got Theta, Shrines to Absurdity. Again, definitely cool, very rapid tech death a la Gorguts, Demilich, stuff like that. Draconian on the Godless Veil. We talked about this. We are pro Draconian here. We're not usually gothic metalheads, but we think that
I don't know. This album is good. It's just
yes. I don't know if it's that good. It is the Metal Storm best metal album of the year.
Oh Jesus, stop!
I'm not.
We're going on to the next one. Depravity with Grand Malevolence at number 8.
I've never heard of it. It's brutal death metal. I'm sure I can.
I'm sure you close your eyes, think of what brutal death metal sounds like.
Oh no, dude! Oh my god, I forgot about Vengeful Spectre, dude. This is the
we've
fault.
Done Vengeful Spectre so dirty.
This is the fault of January releases, kids. Don't release your metal albums in January because,
dude, we've literally released 2 albums in January.
Because come release time. No one's gonna, come list time, no one's gonna remember your album.
Dude, if Vengeful Spectre came out in October, it'd be like number 3.
No, seriously. This Vengeful Spectre album is, oh man, what a record. What a joyride.
What a wild ride, honestly. Yeah. It's Chinese, it's got riffs for days, it's got every style of metal, it's got tribal elements. It's amazing. It's 35 minutes.
Yeah, definitely check out the self-titled Vengeful Spectre album for some cool melodic black metal with a little bit of everything thrown in there. With a folk element, a very heavy folk sort of aesthetic, but definitely cool. Then you got Spectral Lore, Mere Cognitum. This Black Royal album, I don't know, man. I've heard it. I wasn't the biggest fan, but a lot of people really like it. So,
props to people who like it.
Props to blues and sludge metal together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's see. Unleash the Archers. Yep.
Nawabs of Destruction, which is on a few lists, but I haven't heard it.
Wait, what is it?
I couldn't tell you, but there it is.
It looks like a tech death album, but I could not.
I would assume that it's a tech death album, just on the base of what we've gotten out of Kenward's list so far. But I'm gonna take a quick metal peep if it's there. Hopefully it is. It is technical melodic death metal from Bangladesh. Debut album, Rising Vengeance.
Yeah, I like how we can just pinpoint the exact subgenres albums are based on their artwork.
Yep. Number 2, Afterbirth, about 4-dimensional flesh, which a lot of people are talking about. Pretty good record.
I gotta check it out. Apparently, it's
pretty good.
Happy. Oh, it's mixed by Carl Marston. It's happy, brutal death metal. All
what,
right.
Nawabs of Destruction is?
No, Afterbirth.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't know that was a Colin Marston release.
What hasn't Colin Marston mixed?
Fair enough. And the number 1 on this list is Omni Vortex's Diagrams of Consciousness, what I actually listened to last night for the first time. And you know what? It's pretty good. It's a lot more brutal than I expected the technical deathcore tag to be. It's got a really brutal death metal and I guess sort of the classic unique leader sound, while maintaining some really awesome songwriting.
It definitely has a unique leader album cover.
It's got the unique leader style for sure, but it does it really well and pretty memorable. It very quickly flies by, including the last song, which is 12 minutes.
Nice. All right, on to our final list that we judge, which is, drumroll please. Chaucerian.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That was dumb. Wait, one second. I want to throw in this Afterbirth album because
go for it. I will say right off the bat, the Dawn of Solace honorable mention pick is pretty nice. I mentioned this album to Sam earlier in the year. It's a really nice, I think, better project than the actual Wolfheart. And it's a really cool folky doom album with some gothic elements and some more alt rock sensibilities. That a lot of the tracks on the record really left an impression on me. That's Waves by Dawn of Solace. Their first record in like 14 years.
I'm sure it's good.
It is good.
Then we got Eternal Champion. Woo. Arbrinth, which is post-black. This is like the most post-black cover I've ever seen.
Yeah, I haven't heard this one, but I will definitely check it out because post-black's a really damn good genre in most cases.
Frigoris, which I don't know. I've never heard of this album, but it has gorgeous artwork.
Gorgeous artwork. Very intriguing record. It's raw black metal with some avant-garde elements and some post-metal thrown in there too. I remember listening to this one back when it came out, and it was pretty impressive. Definitely not like you're not gonna remember it the next day, but you know it's a very intense and
you're not gonna remember it, but I mean it is black.
It is a very good intense black metal record. Now, one I don't know is this Membaris record. I've never heard of this. I have no idea what this is.
All right, it's raw, icy black metal.
All right, sign me up.
Ex Genesis. I've never heard of this.
Oh no, this is a prog metal album. Oh no, it's not a prog metal album.
Looks like it's Death Doom.
It is a Death Doom album. It looks very similar to another album that came out there. It looks.
Yeah, this is very generic artwork.
Yeah, well, regardless, probably pretty okay. I also don't know of Kardashev, who's EP.
Do you know? What do you mean, dude? You don't know Kardashev?
No, I don't know Kardashev. Do you know Kardashev?
Do you know You know the YouTube channel Cardivox Vocal Academy?
No.
Well, the dude that does that is the Kardashev vocalist. He's absurd.
Oh, wait a minute. I listened to the Almanac back in 2017. I know exactly what this project makes.
Yeah.
It is Black Gaze.
People have been going bananas for this EP.
Oh yeah, it's like post deathcore. It's like post rock, shoegaze, and deathcore.
Yeah, with a really impressive vocals.
Yeah. Yep. All right, number 4 on All in the Thrack because everyone loves that record. Endarkenment. Number 3, Also Rate. Number 2, For Lesson, Hierophant Violent, which is the one.
Adam, you must like number 1.
And number 1, Panzerfaust, The Sons of Perdition, Chapter 2, Render Unto Eve. I'm very impressed. I'm glad my Canadian boys made it up there with 2 of the best songs of the year.
So, Adam, when you think of 2020 music-wise, what comes to mind?
Dude, I don't know. It's like, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing because a lot of bad stuff happened in the music world, but there was a lot of good music that came out this year. I'm not willing to bet that maybe as, you know, we're growing and becoming more versed in our genre, but I feel like a lot more good music came out this year merely on the basis that I just heard more good music. And I think that goes, I just think that goes to show that I think that there's great music released every year, no matter what. You can always find it. You just gotta do some digging.
There's always a butt ton of amazing stuff. And like the past, I mean, we've been rating these year-end lists for like 2 years now.
Yeah.
We did one in 2017, and like I feel like every year it's just like, oh wow, they're amazing. And there are so many great records.
Yeah. I mean, you know, our list has gotten bigger and bigger with every year because we just feel the need to talk about more and more stuff because there's just that much good music. And I don't know if we'll go any more than we are at 40, but like there's
I feel like more than 40 is overkill.
There's just so much stuff.
Yeah, no, I know. Definitely an amazing year for music. And like, I mean, we talk about this. I feel like a lot, but I mean, metal has the rare ability to embody like the horrible subjects it sings about. Like it sounds like the terror that it portrays. And 2020, horrible year by basically all metrics. And metal offered a lot of catharsis and embodied the post-apocalypse of COVID.
Yeah,
I think better than most genres.
Yeah, I agree. It also, I don't know too much about the other scenes, but in terms of like live stream concerts and groups going out of their way to try and stay afloat and engaged in their communities, Throughout this year, the metal genre has done a very good job at keeping their customers satisfied, I think, to at least the best of their ability. Which is something I don't think I can say that for other genres. I really don't. I don't know if the rap group and the rap game has kept up the same way that metal has. Or anything
this year we also got like the invention of the Quarantine album.
So. True. And obviously we got some stuff from like, obviously big groups like, or big names like Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, microphones, I guess. I don't know how long that's been in production, Phil, but
that's been in production for about a year.
It makes sense.
But
I would say good on the metal community, because they've been around and they've been still kicking. I haven't heard of too many bands breaking up over the quarantine period, which is also good, which I kind of expected more of almost. To be like, we can't do this anymore, so, we're leaving, we're done. And I don't think we've seen much of that, which is pretty good. It's a positive.
No, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. Musically, it was pretty phenomenal. I feel like there's no shortage of god tier albums in basically every single genre. Yeah. You just need to look for it. And I feel like more so than in the past years, this really, I don't know, maybe it's just because we're getting more involved, but I feel like this is the first year in a little bit where like the genre lines just matter less and less. Like basically every metal publication had Svalbard. I think every metalhead and their mother listened to Clipping.
Yeah.
Like people are just generally like heavy music as a whole is sort of becoming a lot more incestuous.
Oh yeah, certainly. Yeah, I don't think there's too much else to say. It's been a good-ish year for, I don't know, being a young individual into music on the internet. Obviously, there's
been no shortage of great stuff.
Yeah, so
and Whole Lotta Red.
And 2 versions of Whole Lotta Red.
So we can't complain.
Exactly.
All right, what I have some dumb news and some not.
I've got
news.
some dumb. I've got just a little bit of dumb news, not too much.
Yeah. Let's see. Update on the Bad Wolves frontman's for mother heckin' lawsuit. He got a restraining order against his wife.
Yeah.
That's so good for her. Or against his girlfriend. It seems like this guy definitely did it. So sucks.
Fuck you, Bad Wolves. Well, not fuck you, Bad Wolves.
Don't be shitty and beat women. Come on, how hard is that?
Don't beat people.
Yeah, don't beat people in general. Like, don't abuse others. Come on.
Violence is not the answer.
The world's shitty enough.
Literally. Deftones was Loudwire's albums of the year. Ohms was the album of the year by Loudwire.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, actually, while we're talking about albums of the year, I'm surprised no one in AMG has picked Oceans of Slumber. They're like, when I think AMG band, I think
but
Oceans
that
of
album
Slumber.
sucked.
It got like a 4.
Doesn't matter, that album sucks.
I just don't like Oceans of Slumber. They're all very talented. It's just not my music.
Fair enough. I'm also surprised that none of them have even included it. But that album is kind of bloated. It's 71 minutes.
Dude, it's Oceans of Slumber. All their stuff's bloated.
Right, fair enough. Without shitting too much on Oceans of Slumber.
Actually, no. I have a perfect transition.
Oh, great.
I have a perfect transition. Speaking of bands that premiered Magic cards for the new Viking set, because Oceans of Slumber did that. Mastodon revealed a new Magic the Gathering card for the Viking-themed Magic the Gathering set, and this was, me and Adam played buttloads of Magic in our lives. I played so much goddamn Magic the Gathering, and so it's cool to see the worlds collide.
It is kind of cool to see the world collide, and whether or not the members of Mastodon are actually Magic players, I don't know. I don't
know. I get the feeling Braun Daler's a Magic player.
Fair enough. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. It's still cool. Definitely go Mastodon for supporting the Wizards.
I'm excited for the new album.
The new album. The new 2 albums, Sam. They got 2 albums worth of material.
Dude, what if it's a double album?
It probably will be. One side doom metal, one side Hunter Part 2.
Oh no!
But yeah, for any of our Magic the Gathering fans and metal listeners, I'm pretty sure they're similar.
Yeah, there's got to be an overlap.
If you're listening to
feel like
Dungeon
most-
Synth podcast, you're listening to this and talking about Magic the Gathering.
We got all right. Final mini news, which is Archspire, everyone's favorite Vancouveran tech deathians.
Of course,
finished recording a new album.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be really.
I mean,
good.
it's Archspire. It can't be bad.
They don't miss.
They don't miss. Poppy also is 95% done with another album.
Does she even sleep?
No, she does not. There's no way. We're going to hear new songs at the Gojira, Deftones, and Poppy show. I'm sure.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Man, I want to get like absolutely belligerent at that show. Like, anywho, I have two, I guess, macro things, both about the concert industry and the music industry and COVID.
Yeah.
So there's this great bill, that Congress passed. Well, it's not a good bill, but politics aside, Congress passed a bill that provide $15 billion in assets to independent music videos, and that's a slow clap moment.
It's a clap moment. We can clap.
Yeah,
good.
Clap for that.
Good for Congress doing something to help out the local venues that really need the support.
Yeah, because they really do. So that's nice.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of the coin, concert industry suffers projected $30 billion loss in 2020.
That's kind of cringe, if you ask me. I don't really know what else to say. Very cringe.
I mean, no, who wasn't expecting that, but it still sucks.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Hopefully, some of that can be rectified in the coming year. Speaking of New Year's, new beginnings, PMMetalGuide podcast will continue. This was not just a quarantine and 2020 thing.
I mean, quarantine's still going on.
Quarantine is still going on, so it is not just a 2020 thing. We will be returning next week on beep, brain calculating date.
It's
the 7th.
The 4th, I think.
No, the 7th. The 7th.
So I'm getting a tattoo on the 2nd.
All right.
It's the 5th.
Well, yeah, but we're releasing it on the 7th.
Oh, Jesus. Never mind. Yes, we'll be returning on the 7th. A week from the day that this is released.
Obviously. Today is December 31st. New Year's Eve. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. It's totally New Year's Day. Or New Year's Eve. So happy New Year's from us at PMMetalGuide.
Yeah, so you can say we'll see you next year. But before that, I gotta give a list of the albums that are cursed with coming out the first week of the year.
No, don't do it.
So we got Anapest, we got Cartilage, we got Agonizing Torture, we got Coffins and Depression Split, we got Griddian, we got Hellbravier, we got Modern Age Dying, Transylvania, Voltaic, and Zach Leeser.
I also have a few. I think I have at least.
Oh, also Prime Mover. That's it.
Sverm, who is a Russian One Piece black metal band who released a pretty good album last year, also on January 2nd, as is being done this year.
Oh gosh, why would you do this, Firm? Why would you release them?
Is dropping their album
Someone dropping their album in January?
Transylvania also drops their their new album of Sleep and Death on New Year's Day tomorrow. Wink. So check out for that. Also releasing records on January 29th, which is a loaded day. Includes Soen, The Body's new album comes out. Tribulation's new album comes out. Harakiri for the Sky's new album comes out. And for those who may feel intrigued to listen, Steven Wilson's new album also comes out on that day. But yeah, big day on January 29th.
Reform Porcupine Tree,
also
Steven, do
upcoming in the next few months, just because there's some singles out for these songs, so if you're really hankering for stuff that's going to come out next year, I'll list a few other names. You got Ruins of Beverast comes out in February with a new full length. The Thule Grimoire. Mogwai.
Aren't they a Nazi band?
No, they're not a Nazi band.
Okay.
No, they're really good though.
Yeah, they're I was doing some research from a black metal show, and they're part of the I want to say German collective called like the Monval Collective.
Yeah, they're an old band that have been going for a very long time.
Sorry.
You also Also on that day, you have a new Cult of Luna EP, Raging River. Obviously,
Does
Cult
it
of Luna.
feature my girl Julie Christmas though?
I don't think it does, but who knows? We might see. Also, I forgot about this. January 15th, the Amaruth Rundle and Thou B-Sides album, The Helm of Sorrow, drops, which is, I mean...
You know what? I'd be surprised if it isn't great.
Look, the cover of Hollywood is phenomenal, so I can only expect that the rest of the EP will be similar in quality.
I mean, to be fair, Mayor Chambers Too Full is like 39 minutes, so they probably cut a decent amount to get there.
Yeah. You have, like I said, new Mogwai comes out on February 19th. As the Love Continues. On February 25th, the Vector and Cryptosis split comes out.
Yeah, never heard. Let's not talk about those bands, but
we won't. But it is something to mention. Architects also have a new album coming out.
Oh gosh, dude. Okay,
February 26th.
I don't know how much Architects you listen to, but do you listen to the lead single for this album? Animals?
No, and I don't want to.
It is an industrial metal song.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Architects, they're going in a sharp left turn. We're gonna have to see how it pans out. We'll probably review it.
Maybe it'll be their best. Maybe it'll be their best album.
I don't know. Me and Adam don't like Architects. Yeah. Their first album's good, actually.
Yeah, their first album is good. Melvins also are coming out with a new album the same day, Working with God. We don't support some of the words of the members of the Melvins, but they are an essential band.
Wait,
that definitely...
are Melvins Nazis?
Have you heard what Buzz has had to say about some certain things?
I thought Buzzco was like bass.
You should look up some Buzzco articles.
Oh, gosh.
Or some recent Buzzco interviews from this year. There's some tea.
Oh,
there's
gosh.
some tea.
I gotta find the tea.
But anyway, other than that, all I have on my radar is there's an Orden Ogan album coming out. Obviously, I'm not a big power metal guy, but Orden Ogan's a huge band. And their 2016 album, Gunman, was pretty beloved. So who knows what'll happen with this brand new one, which takes on a futuristic turn. I've actually listened to the singles for this one. One of them was pretty good. So I'm actually kind of excited. There's also a new I Hate God album coming out at the end of March.
Gosh. All right, well, I guess moving forward, we got a few fun podcast topics lined up for the next coming weeks.
We have.
And to kick off 2021.
We'll start introducing some guests onto the show who may have certain takes that are aside from our own. We can hear some interesting stuff about there. We also have the famous Coma Ecliptic show that will be coming.
Where Adam will finally listen to Coma Ecliptic more than once.
That is coming in January. We've also got a few other spicy things lined up. So thank you for listening this year, and we're really glad to have been doing this all this time. And we hope you rejoin us tomorrow and all other days of 2021 with some cool stuff, cool podcast metal listening.
So we can say, see you next year.
See you next year. We might even we can talk about this after, but there might be some changes to the podcast overall. You'll see. You'll have to wait and see until next year on the PMMetalGuide podcast.
I hate this.
All
right. I don't know. 2020, good year for music, bad year for everything else.
Yep, that's about it.
Also, Dungeon Synth, okay genre.
Dungeon Synth, okay genre. Just use the RYM chart. Just use the RYM chart. You'll be fine. That's where all the good stuff is.
Alright, I've been Sam.
I'm Adam.
Stay safe.
Stay safe and have Happy New Year!
Bye!